I mean, Larry's a good answer too.
I was gonna say
Larry's such a good answer. I know that's another like common, you know, not hot take or anything, but Larry's just so funny. It helps that I'm an adult now who worked an office job.
Yeah,
he didn't really care for. So, like, OMG relatable, but I think I have to go with Larry. Yeah, well, I've always loved like maker channels. You know, on a high level, you get like Mark Rober, and then you start going down the rabbit hole to people like William Osman, Michael Reeves, Emily the Engineer, those kind of people. And so I've always just kind of wanted to make something. I've also like enjoyed a lot of other like gaming creators. So like those kind of projects inspired me. Strapped in. There's no going back now. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, man.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Skill Link podcast, where we chat and get to know passionate content creators, competitive players, and all voices who continue to make the Pokemon community incredible. And today's guest is an engineer, imagining, designing, and ultimately making video game worlds a reality. From a variety of amazing projects like a portal gun and mighty Zonite shield, making it onto CBS 58 News, and many projects inspired by the Pokemon franchise, his goal is to motivate others to find their calling and get inspired. It's our friend, Matt, BigRig Creates. How are you doing, my friend?
Hello. I'm doing pretty well.
Awesome.
I noticed you introduced me as an engineer, but I call myself a fake engineer. It's all self-taught. I didn't have to do the difficult, thing of actually getting a bachelor's in engineering, because I've had many friends who've gone down that path, and it was just absolute
nightmare.
Hell.
Yeah,
nightmare.
Right. You were able to finesse your way into the engineering field, is what you're telling us then.
Basically, yeah, I cheated my way in.
There you go. So there's the lesson, right? If there's a take-home lesson for this episode, that's what it is. Not just kidding.
So, that's awesome.
Sneak in there, right? It's good stuff. Well, we're super excited. Like I was saying before we hit record here, Logan came across your content and he's like, "Hey, we should check this guy out." And I'm like, "Yeah, this is unlike anything that we've brought onto the show before, unlike anything I've seen." And it's a really cool niche that you have going on with your content. So, but before we hop into specifically what you do, we want to get to know you a little bit as well. So, you don't just love Pokemon, as we can see from your variety of creations. We'd love to know what else inspires you. Is there anything in particular, like non-Pokemon, that's your favorite creation-wise, or just a hobby you enjoy? TV show, movie, other games, anything?
Yeah, well, I've always loved like maker channels, and on a high level, you get like Mark Rober, and then you start going down the rabbit hole to people like William Osman, Michael Reeves, Emily the Engineer, those kind of people. And so I've always just kind of wanted to make something. I've also like enjoyed a lot of other like gaming creators, like Shank Mods, if you've heard of them, who's made like, a bunch of portables and made like the GameCube Joy-Cons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We've actually got to meet and hang out before. He's a really cool guy. So like those kind of projects inspired me. And that was like one of my earlier projects on the channel, was this old abandoned McDonald's table that I turned into this whole like touchscreen gaming thing, because I thought it was weird and funny, and I don't know, it was fun.
That's awesome.
I love those kind of projects. My my best friend growing up, he's a very kind of like just creative mind like that. Like I remember one of his favorite projects ever was he got like a bunch of like VHS cassette tapes and like made like a table out of those and like put glass on top, and it's just so cool to see like what people like can create with their like they take the nostalgia and the passions of their heart and just make it into something awesome. And I think that's probably one of my favorite aspects about your channel, is just kind of seeing where you take your your video game game love and things like that, and just make it a reality. I think that's so fun. A question that we had for you as well. So not just the fact that you're creative in your videos and that you're giving it your all and building these things, making them a reality from either animations that are on other channels or just Jaden Animations herself saying we should have a Rag'n'Rolla pencil sharpener. You also go above and beyond when you can, and you do cooking on there, kind of
I
shouting
love
out
that.
the format of Babish himself, or Babish, I think is how you pronounce it. You made a curry in the Fuecoco rice cooker episode, and also made the Pokemon promo pizza from South Korea in the Rotom episode. I was curious, are you secretly a chef? Or do you have like a passion for food? Like, it just kind of seemed like something that you were really enjoying when you did that.
I am not a cook by any means.
Yeah.
I put like the least amount of effort into it. So when I decided to like do this whole recipe thing, I'm like, well, I'm just going to go all out, and Babish is fun, and
Yeah.
in a way, like, cooking is a different kind of like creation or making things real. There's actually a lot of like Pokemon people that have made like their own little like Pokemon like cookies or like things that look super realistic, and I'm like, I'm not on that level. But if I'm going to be doing cooking, which I don't oftentimes do, I wanted to make it something special. And then I'm like, well, I can bring it back again because it was kind of fun the first time.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Logan,
I was like, oh no, you go.
I was just gonna say, so you got to remind me. So Logan and I are we're in a Pokemon draft league, just like with some friends.
Yeah.
It's super casual, but once a year we'll have a season where we'll draft a specific format, and then we'll get together for the finals. But I gotta shout him out. One of our friends in our league, his name's Kelly. He'll when we get together in person for the championship round, he'll make like these Pokemon dishes, or he'll like have like what he does, like Slowpoke tails, or what was he saying the other day, Logan?
We had Slowpoke tail. I can't remember the other. I think it was a curry related dish. I couldn't remember.
It was some curry related one, and they had like a lemonade drink. It was like super clever, and I was like, dude, I think I'm creative sometimes. I think I'm like, I kind of got some good ideas up here, and then I see stuff like what you guys do, and I'm like, man, I'm just barely scratching the surface. So that's cool though. And what were you gonna say, Logan?
Awesome. I was just gonna say, like, excuse me. I just gotta shout you out because I think that was a fun addition to the video, where it was like you didn't have to just make the thing, but you also made it fun, brought it back to the the cooking aspect of the rice cooker, the pizza, the oven, and I mean, you beat out restaurant curry with both your friends, which was awesome. So I just gotta shout you out there and say I'm probably gonna make that recipe now because it looked delicious. So
I'm gonna pull the curtains back for 1 second. There's just not many options in Milwaukee, so the bar was pretty low.
I love
it. I love it so much.
Under promise, over deliver. That's the phrase here. So nice.
Exactly.
Yes. So tell us more about your Pokemon journey. Games growing up, watch the anime, cards. Did you collect them? What was kind of your entry point into the franchise?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a 96 baby, so I was, of the perfect age for when Pokemania exploded for the first time back in 2000. So, I had Red Blue. I had played throughout, I'd played since I can really even remember. I've been like just obsessed with Pokemon as a kid. I had this big bucket of Pokemon cards like so many other kids had.
Yeah.
Was too lazy to organize them all, so they were just in a big bucket. It would be the thing. I think I bought all of those things, and then it kind of died down a little bit, after Gen 3. Just because it's like, okay, I'd still play the games, but I wouldn't be as obsessive with collecting everything. I think, that phase kind of died out. And then, I just, I'd play a couple things here. I actually did a draft league as well a couple years ago.
There we go.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've always just loved like Pokemon trivia. Like I remember in high school, I think I would just like read through Bulbapedia pages just to go to the trivia section because it's so much fun to figure all that stuff out. And that's the pandemic happened. And I was looking for like a new hobby. I bought my first 3D printer, and the first thing I did, of course, is try to combine, my love of games with the 3D printer. And I'm like, well, this is some cool stuff that, no one's really done before. And things just kind of kept on going back to Pokemon just because of how big, Pokemon's been in my life. And
Right.
yeah, that's kind of how we got here.
There you go.
That's so cool. I love that. I was actually going to ask you, so kind of like, so it sounds like during the pandemic is when the channel got started. And I was going to ask you more kind of like, you took this leap last August to make this your full-time kind of gig right now, your full-time career. Kind of how's that been? And, what are you looking forward to as you're kind of taking this journey and continuing it?
Yeah, it's been very freeing being away from the 9 to 5, but also obviously a little scary because the landscape of making YouTube videos it's constantly changing. You see people losing advertisement revenue out of the blue. Everything's now dependent on the algorithm. Not to sound like a broken record here,
Yeah.
of course, but the way how the homepage interacts with what your content needs to be nowadays, it's very exhilarating to be in this space, but also a little frightening as well. Just because you want to see this work out long term, and hopefully, everyone's content seems to have an expiration date. There's not too many YouTubers that make it past 6-7 years and are still doing it, but it's exciting. I've always wanted to do YouTube full time for since I was a kid. So this was really exciting. And what makes me more excited about future stuff is I actually have a couple collaborations coming up. I don't know if I'm supposed to be announcing these things. I guess
we'll be the scoop here. Yeah, I love it.
So it's not on my channel, but if you guys know of the channel Sir Toasty Toes, kind of he's been the ribbon master, I'd say. I think he's done more for the ribbon community than anyone else. We're working on making all of the ribbons you can put on a ribbon master in real life. So
that's awesome.
The Pokemon you can take from Pokemon XD or Coliseum, having it go through all the generations of Pokemon all the way up to the newest games, and then I modeled. He did all the hard work of actually putting together the ribbons, but I did the 3D modeling for that. So that's going to be a fun video.
That's amazing.
That's cool. I don't know if I can leak this one, but Pokedoku and I have something cooking up as well. So
okay, well, we're psyched for that. We had one of the masterminds behind Pokedoku on a previous episode a couple months ago. Awesome guy. It was just one of there's a couple guys that run it, and that's it. That's gonna be really cool because really cool guy.
We'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out for that one. That's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. I got to commend you for taking that leap. But it's kind of like, you get to a point where your channel gets so much momentum, and in order to truly get the most out of what you can do, you just simply kind of need more time. You kind of have to take that step into full-time dedication to it. That way you can give what your viewers deserve, and that way you can kind of give yourself what you deserve, because the reason you do it is for the content itself. It's clear that you're very passionate about it, and the passion comes from putting out a product that you're proud of. And sometimes you just simply need some more time to fine tune the edges and screw in those final bolts and everything like that. So that's exciting, and it's really shown in the last little bit. Your content's been awesome. It's been just killer. So
well, thanks.
Kind of had a fun question for you. So kind of going back to the Pokemon side of things, it's interesting to hear, because same kind of thing, Logan and I got into it when we were younger, kind of around the same Pokemania, era. And I would say that my it's interesting that you mentioned this as well. I wouldn't say my love for Pokemon ever died out, but it kind of fizzles. You get older, you have less time for stuff, other things come up. And it's funny, now that I've settled into kind of being an adult, I have my schedule, my routine. X number of years ago, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, I just got super into it again. And I'm like, now everyone my age, my friends, my brother-in-law just turned 30. He has 2 daughters, and he's still super into it. And it's funny that, kids are into it. And then all these guys who are 25 to 35, love Pokemon again. And it's really cool. So, I
love looking at our analytics, because that's it's 18 to 30 is our main demographic of my people right here.
Different people, right? So with all your creations that you've created, which would you pitch to the Pokemon company?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Uh, it's funny you say that because I get a lot of comments like, "Oh, this guy should work with the Pokemon Company."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what? Secretly, I kind of don't want to be noticed by them. It almost feels like there could be a target on my back.
Yeah. You're like,
Um,
shh, don't say anything,
yeah,
please.
Pokemon's been a bit less litigious than actual straight up Nintendo.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I think Alpharad had a little story about how he was invited to come out to Worlds, and he
Ooh.
got to see a bunch of stuff at the actual Pokemon Company International's offices, and he was like, "Yeah, you don't mind that I was playing these ROM hacks?" And they're like, "Nope, we don't care. That's fine. Like you can." No, they sponsored. It was Pokemon Unite was sponsoring a ROM hack that video that he did, so that was a little surprising.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so in a weird way, I don't know what my relation with the Pokemon Company would be, but if I had to pick, I think I got to make that Fuecoco rice cooker reel, right?
You have
Yeah.
to.
That's what the
I
I
people
agree.
think
want.
that was a really fun one. Well, and I think it was really cool just to kind of see how you really took the design from the original creator's video and tried to make it as much of a reality as possible. Because that was a fun, like the hair was the button. Oh, it was a lot of fun. So I think it's a great choice. I
But
also really like your spirit tomb. Your spirit tomb
oh yeah,
is super cool.
yeah, that one I would not pitch the Pokemon Company. That thing's dangerous. I'll admit that. Um, oh,
Uh,
but yeah,
I
I
love.
mean, there was there's a couple of the Rotoms as well that I think the
Mm.
Rotom fridge, having an actual Rotom mini fridge is
Oh
something that
yeah.
would be super usable. So, if the Pokemon Company is actually wanting to reach out to me, I guess my line is open.
I'll tentatively
Yeah.
open it. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. So you also kind of in these videos you mentioned earlier you love Pokemon trivia and you also love to lace them in there, into your videos as you're creating some of these things. Like you mentioned that the Rock'n'Rolla's hole was its ear hole, which I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was kind of curious, like these fun niche facts. Do you have like specific favorite facts of Pokemon that you're just like, this is ingrained in my mind and I love these facts about this Pokemon?
Oh man, they're all whirling by so quickly now. Just this is like when you come up to a comedian and you say, "Tell me a joke."
And yep.
They're not prepared for it.
Yeah.
Let me think of one. Oh, I've had some good facts.
I know some
Um,
Pokédex entries are just absolutely unhinged. We've talked about this before, like just for fun with other people that we brought on. And there's some Pokédex entries that are either like really interesting, like that, or some where I'm like, this is a kid's game, right? Like
Where?
you guys realize what you're putting out here? Like I'm gonna have to look some up really quickly.
like
But Logan,
Drampa. I think Drampa is one where it's like if Drampa notice it's a kid is being bullied, he will go to the
oh yeah,
bully's house and burn down
burn it
the
down.
entire establishment, which is
Hatterene has
crazy.
something kind of like that too, where it's like
Oh
the
yeah,
emotion Pokemon, and if it senses negative emotions or something along those lines, it says it will like viciously beat that person or that thing to like get rid of the negative emotion. I'll look it up quickly while we're chatting, but I love this kind of thing as well. This kind of thing just cracks me up. The
yeah.
kind of fun facts
This
that
is a fun one.
um
You gotta love Yamask. Isn't that basically that Yamask is a like was once a human or was once a child or something
yep.
like that?
Yeah.
Oh man, there's some fun ones out there that you're just kind of like, Pokemon
Hmm.
Company, what are you guys doing over there?
Yeah, I gotta remember their target audience sometimes. It's
I
like,
know,
and
right?
they will
Yeah.
ruthlessly crush with a vice grip or something like that. It's like, okay, all
Like
right.
yeah, it's like I guess this is kind of like a National Geographic. It's the real world. Nature unfiltered. I guess
Mhm.
that's how it is in the Pokemon world as well. But so with the Patterine, if you're too loud around it, you risk being torn apart by the claws on its tentacle. This Pokemon is also known as the Forest Witch, and then this Pokemon can read the emotions of creatures over 30 miles away. The minute it senses hostility, it goes on the attack. I'm like, what?
Whoa.
Yeah, just stuff like that,
That is-
man. I'm just like, all
yeah,
right.
yeah.
It's a good thing that Pokemon's slow.
Yeah. It's one of those things where like, well, maybe, you know what, if I was given the opportunity to live in the Pokemon world, I might decline.
Yeah,
I
maybe
think
I'll.
I would have to decline on that one.
Well, you might have to be built like Ash because Ash apparently can tank thunderbolts and fire blasts and whatever he's done throughout the course of his 10-year-old life, and he lives to tell a tale. But
and he can hold a Larvitar, which is like
apparently,
Exactly.
yeah.
a butt ton of pounds. Like that thing is like almost 200 pounds somehow.
I saw someone say Ash apparently just has the ultimate sleeper build. Like he just looks like a kid, but he's got some dense muscle on him apparently. One I just remember before we move on to the next thing. The ones where it's like where it mentions like if something happens to like a Pokemon, it'll like die. Like the classic one's the Charmander, right? Like if the tail goes, like the fire goes out on its tail. I remember the one with Spoink where it has to bounce all the time.
Oh,
It
yeah.
stops bouncing. Apparently, it dies.
It
And I'm like,
dies.
Spoink's like one of the cutest Pokemon. Like I don't want to picture that. That's
Yeah.
not
Spoink
cool.
has been paralyzed.
And you're
Spoink
like-
has fainted immediately? Interesting.
Yeah, use hypnosis on Spoink, and it's like, oh, it fell asleep, and it's like, oh, it's just. I guess Spoink kind of bounces in place when it's asleep, but if it's paralyzed,
Still
yeah,
is
then I
it.
guess it's toast. So
I remember like some of the early. I don't know if it was the cards or if it was the Pokedex entries in like red, blue, and yellow. But I think it's Paris or Parasect. They mentioned China, like in like
Oh,
like
yeah.
that their mushrooms are found in China. And like I
Oh.
always found that kind of interesting. Like where like I don't know if it was the original intent where they were trying to make like, oh, this is like either an alternate world or like the real world still. So like that was always an interesting one for me.
I love the Bulbapedia article, like Pokemon, like the Pokemon world, like the lore of its relationship to the actual world.
Mhm.
Because like, yeah, even in that game, they talk about how Mew was either seen or Mewtwo was like made in like South America somewhere. I thought it was
Oh, yeah.
Venezuela or something
yeah.
like that. So like,
oh yeah.
they kind of didn't know exactly what they
What they were
wanted to
doing.
do in the relationship with the Pokemon world and the real world. But I always think it's really cool that all the regions are based off real world locations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always cool. Like
I
even
love it.
Ora region's Arizona, which is like the most random thing
Okay.
ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a fun
I
fact.
love that.
Oh man,
That's
Colosseum's
awesome.
great. We need to do
I was
a
gonna mention.
deeper dive on that one.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
What were you saying,
I was
Logan?
going to mention one last thing, because we were talking about Ash and how he's the sleeper pill. I guess one thing we've never that's not really considered is the evolution of humans in the Pokemon world. Like Pokemon evolve, do humans evolve to be able to withstand the environments and stuff
Well,
like that they?
So that's why Ash can tank a Thunderbolt. Apparently, I don't know.
I have two things to add to that. First
Yeah,
of
let's hear
all, I think Matt Pat actually did a game theory on that exactly, where it's
Okay.
like they're superhumans. I mean, there's psychic humans, right? Like they have the ability to literally do like make psychic balls
Yeah.
float and all that jazz. But the interesting thing is a bit of lore that we didn't get in the West, which was the libraries in Gen 4 talked about how humans and Pokemon used to wed way back in the day. So there is a lot of weird things going on here in the lore.
I can see it. So
yeah.
maybe some I don't know, some Alakazam genes are floating around in some people, and that's why you fight the psychic trainer class. I don't know.
I think that's got to be it. Humans are somewhat Pokemon, I think,
There
is
you
the
go.
conclusion.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. And sure enough, on the Parasect one, Pokemon Stadium says the bug host is controlled by the mushrooms that scatter poisonous spores, and the spores are sometimes used as medicine in China.
Yeah, there it is.
Just straight up says China, yeah.
Huh.
Because the Paris entry mentions what the kind of mushroom is, and it's kind of like a play on an actual spore in real life, but it doesn't it's not like the actual term. But then sure enough, Parasect just straight up says China in the Stadium entry. So there we go. I did not know that. That's a good one.
Interesting.
Anyways, but so then maybe want to ask you as well, as far as some of these projects go, again, just kind of looking at everything you've done. I can't even begin to think where I would start with this. Again, I really commend the overall creativity of knowing where to start, the materials you gather, doing some sort of mock-up on how you even start to approach this. What's the process of building out a project? Like, what criteria are you looking to meet?
Yeah. I guess the first thing is like, well, sometimes I come across something and I'm like, well, what if I could combine that with a Pokemon to kind of make it real, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes it's the the inspiration goes the other way, where it's like, I want to make this real. What do I have to do to achieve that? And so sometimes I'll spend a lot of time just kind of like researching different products and like different existing technologies, and stuff like that. And then sometimes I just see like a Pokemon craft on the internet, and like 2 seconds later I'm like, well, what if I actually did this way to make it like more like a real inspiration thing, from one of the Pokemon. I know I'm talking kind of vaguely here, but
No, yeah.
it can be inspiration is one of those things where it can just kind of come like that. Like you don't have a whole process all the time for it. It just kind of, you just kind of get randomly inspired sometimes. Like that Jaden Animations video. It's like, okay, I heard that one line, you should make this into a pencil sharpener. I'm like, I got to make this into a pencil sharpener.
It's time. I love that. I gotta ask you, just how fast or how long did it take you to find like the body of the Fuecoco rice cooker? Because I was like, that was perfect when you found it.
Yeah, no, that one was, so I'm still, I think I just looked up cheap rice cookers, and then on AliExpress I found this one that was $30. Sometimes I also look at prices, because some of these projects, the amount I spend can kind of be kind of high. But it was $30, and it just had the colorings on it. I'm like, this is perfect. I don't know how we got here, but that is a instant buy. The annoying thing with that one, though, was I didn't realize it wasn't for, it's what happens when I buy a lot of things. I don't realize other things. Like for this one, I needed to get a converter so it could actually plug into an American 110 volt outlet, or maybe it's 220. Basically, I either had to half it or I had to double it with that conversion box. So that's where like these little things I don't realize, it starts to just slowly add up in cost for a lot of these projects. So sometimes it's just luck. Sometimes the ideas just kind of combine in my brain and it just kind of happens.
Right.
That's awesome. I love that. Kind of as we're, getting into this as well, I'm curious, what is the hardest project that you've worked on? Like, what the one that you felt like was like, this either was harder than I expected to be, or that it was hard, but you're proud of it in the end, like really proud of that end product. And then are there any future projects that you can tease for us at all?
Yeah. So, I would have to go with like just making, the mini DDR machine. I know it's not Pokemon, but that mini DDR machine, it was so difficult to work with the amount of space I had in that thing. And there's just so many, I'm bad at wire management. That's something I need to work on. So maybe I could, it's looking at me right now. Maybe I could do a little redo of some of the internals on that thing someday. But that one was pretty hard, but I was kind of proud of how it turned out in a way, because everyone like enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of janky, but I made it, so like that's kind of cool.
Nice.
In the same vein, there's a project video coming up that I thought I was going to get done in December, and it's probably going to come out next month now, and that is the real life Ultra Hand from Tears of the Kingdom. So that one's been probably my most difficult project so far, because I'm trying to do as many of the abilities in real life as well. Not only am I going to control the game with the glove, and then the glove's going to glow, and that it's scope creep has just gone out the wazoo. I want to do fusion where I go like that, and then I can fuse like two electromagnets together, and then when you hit that, it automatically falls apart and stuff like that.
That's insane.
I'm going to do even a recall by programming like a little RC car, and then when you hit the hand, it does everything in reverse. So you can tell how this video's kind of been a bit much for one guy.
Yeah. Jeez, that's insane. Yeah. Wow.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll get out, and then the end goal of that one is to have that at Open Sauce, which is a big convention that happens now every year, run by the YouTuber William Osman. It's just supposed to be a display of like science and gaming and nerd stuff, and you have your own booth and you can show off, and
that's
big YouTubers are there and stuff, and it's a fun time.
When is that and where is that?
That's going to be June 16th and the 17th. It's a Saturday Sunday event.
Okay.
And that's going to be in San Francisco in the Bay Area. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That'd be really fun to go to, actually.
I recommend it. It was one of the coolest things ever. I just straight up, it's one of my happiest moments of adulthood. Honestly,
that's so cool. I mean, because it's just crazy. Like, as you're specifically talking about, this the crazy scope on this project. It's clear that there's a lot of planning that goes into it. I mean, as with any project, stuff never turns out the way that you initially planned it from the get-go. It always comes up as you go along. You modify things, you get some more inspiration. What sort of, like, I guess you could say, tools and tips would you give to someone who's looking to do maybe something similar in terms of bringing games to life, or maybe just making content, whether that's YouTube or anything? What would you kind of recommend for someone who wants to tackle something like this?
I think the first thing I'd say is it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Because at the end of the day, you're producing a video, so the actual projects should be good enough for camera, and then you can always go back and do revisions if it's something you really want to do. It doesn't always have to be great right away, especially if you have like deadlines you need to meet, and if scope creep is getting way too out of hand. Remember what the what your goal here is, which maybe your goal could be making the perfect X, Y, and Z, but if you focus too much on perfection, you're just not going to ever get anything done. So, I mean, I could say right now in the garage, a couple of the projects kind of look a little worse for tear right now, but I'm not making projects to be sold. I'm making projects for the video. So it's okay. I can always go and repair them
exactly
at any point in time. So that's my advice. I'd say
that's perfect. I love that.
I like it too. And also, because like I know that, for example, like kind of along that vein, you love magnets, and that's probably one of the reasons why is because you can get a lot done with something really simple that way. So I love that.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly powerful tool, and then you don't have to worry about things breaking because you just snap it back on.
There you go. Yeah.
I love it. All right. Well, we had a fun conversation on your content. Now we're going to kind of get into that rapid fire round that we were mentioning earlier a little bit before the talk, where we're going to kind of ask you some questions, and you give us your opinion off the kind of top of your head. No right or wrong answers, obviously. There's kind of your opinion. So we're gonna have start off with here. Which game has the best rival?
Oh, best rival? I mean, there's only two correct answers, right? Let's be honest here. I don't want you to be my friend. I want you to be a little bit of my enemy.
Yeah.
I guess I have to go Blue or Gary Oak or whoever you want to say. I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to be a Gen 1er in here, but
or whatever crass thing you want to name him when you're a kid, and you name him literally whatever you want. Yeah.
Face.
Yeah, butt face. Yeah, face. Poo-poo head or whatever. Yeah, all that.
I mean, Silver's good too, but it's okay.
Yeah. There's some good depth to Silver, but Blue or Gary is just straight up he's just straight up a jerk.
Yeah.
But
I do kind of like how they turned everything on their head for the Scarlet and Violet, where they are clearly way better than you, but they want you to get good, which is like that's cool. Different. That's nice.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It's kind of fun. I like Blue. I like the answer a lot with Blue because I do think because like I think the rivals, like obviously each game has a different kind of story with them, but I do think Blue is in a way is really special just because there is that full circle moment of where you were facing your rival, like you've been fighting him throughout the game, and then just again the final fight is with your rival, and he's like, "Hey, I'm the champion. Let's do this thing." It feels epic every time. You know. Cool.
Great
so
setup.
I love that answer. The next one is the best Elite Four. Which game has the best Elite Four?
Ooh.
Or member, if you have a specific member that you like a lot.
4 members. I mean, I just kind of like Bruno because he's kind of the GOAT who's just been there for a long time. I mean, Larry's a good answer too.
I was gonna say
Larry's such a good answer. I know that's another like common, not hot take or anything, but Larry's just so funny. It helps that I'm an adult now who worked an office job that he didn't really care for. So like OMG relatable, but I think I have to go with Larry.
It's funny. We've asked this a few times because it's just fun to get people's different get a tap on everyone's opinions on these sorts of just random fun things. And Larry's come up a lot, and I think it does feel like the Pokemon Company kind of did that on purpose as like a nod to the older guys. And I mean, Larry's the GOAT, man. He's a gym leader, and then he's an Elite Four in the same game. Because like Koga, Koga's a gym leader in Gen 1, and then you go to Gen 2, and it's a few years later as far as the timeline goes, but he's an Elite Four member. But Larry's like, no, man, I run both of them at the same time, and I have a 9 to 5. Like, get on my level, man. And he's normal type. I guess normal and flying, but
flying.
Larry's the definition of hustle, man. Like, I mean, he's like literally like he's a normal type expert and a flying type expert. Like, he knows what he's doing. Like, if you want a side gig, you gotta hit Larry up, see what he's doing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he's the GOAT. 100%.
Love it.
Genius.
I love it. All right, and then the last one is the best enemy team from any game.
Best enemy team. Ooh, that's a good one. Not Team Flare. I'll say not Team Flare.
Man.
I mean, Unova set up. I mean, Team Plasma just set up such a cool concept, which you could argue maybe wasn't explored in the best way by the end, but I conceptually it's a lot cooler. Like they're all cult. They all seem like brainwashed and like the same, and they're very like uniform and all that stuff. So I guess and their themes. Oh my god, their themes out banger too.
It's so good.
I got to give it to Team 100%. Plasma.
Yeah, well, they have like the sages and everything, and they feel like the secret like society that's like hiding behind society.
Yeah,
it's really it's kind of creepy. The other one that I think is really creepy and I like a lot is Team Galactic because I can't remember who did the video. I have to go back and watch it, but someone did like this full psychoanalysis on Cyrus because his thing is that he wants to destroy the universe and then remake it in his image with the power of the legendary Pokemon. And of course it's the generation where it's the most powerful ones. It's Dialga, Palkia, and the literal creators of time and space. And I didn't realize this, but when I was playing back through on Brilliant Diamond, not even his highest ranking officers like Saturn, Mars, and Jupiter, they don't even know what his actual goal is. Like, because like he disappears and they're like, dude, what do you like? I always thought that he was that's a really good team because it was pretty creepy and felt like the scope was like very much like apocalyptic, so to say, instead of just Giovanni's awesome, Team Rocket's iconic, but it's like they're just they're meanies. They're trying to steal your Pokemon.
Yeah.
So
I think actually the manga Pokemon Adventures did that really well because the characters, the elites of the team start to realize how insane Cyrus is.
Yeah.
And like it really like they do a good job with the imagery and them like slowly realizing like,
oh my gosh,
we can't have this happen. We got to turn them, all right? Like it's a really good arc in the manga series. So if you've never read those, like
I do. I've been meaning to get into the manga a little bit more, so I need to I've heard really good things about them. But so I guess bottom line is not Team Flare. So
no, not Team Flare.
Cool. And the next set of rapid fires before we move on to the next section are going to be starters. So what is your favorite and least favorite starter from Gen 4?
From Gen 4, favorite starter and least favorite. I'll say favorite starter. I mean, I chose Turtwig, so I feel like I should go with Turtwig. So I'm going to go with Turtwig.
There we go.
And then least favorite. I just don't like the design of Chimchar. I'm sorry.
Okay.
There's the controversial.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
Well, there you probably get along. We mentioned him earlier. You probably get along with our buddy because he's a big Chimchar, Monferno, Infernape hater.
Oh, really? A hater? Wow, going that far.
Yeah, isn't he, Logan? That you call him a Chimchar hater, right? Yeah,
100%. Yeah, he just like and like it's passionate. Like what I love about our buddy is that he's just full-fledged, like he will commit to a take, and it's just like whoa, like I like it, so it's good. So yeah, no.
Something about the monkeys designs just do something for some people. Like a lot of people hate the Panpour, Pan Sage Pansear line, like
Oh, yeah.
they despise those Pokemon. So
It's so
I don't
cute.
know.
Yeah, you're totally right. I've seen like just on like Instagram or wherever, like whenever those come up, I just see like absolute vitriol for them, and I'm like, they're not that bad, are they? Like but I like Chimchar and Infernape, but I guess you have a choice of only three. You kind of gotta pick one.
Yeah, you got to call at that point. You forced that upon me. Okay?
I know, I did. Well, this is going to be tough then because we're going back to your roots. What about Gen 1?
Gen 1? I mean, I'm Squirtle Squad all the way. I am always Squirtle Squad.
There we go.
And Bulbasaur, I love you, but you're third place. And you know that.
He knows it.
Like,
at least he knows
I'm just
it, right?
reaffirming it, yeah.
Yeah. And then last one, the newest region, Gen 9.
What do we even got this time? I literally played the game. We got
Fuecoco,
yeah,
Quaxley, and Sprigatito.
I am not a Weed Cat fan, so I think, especially the third evolution. So, I mean, Fuecoco's design is just so good.
It's cute.
Like, it's perfect.
I have to go with Fuecoco as the winner, and then Meowscarada as the loser. I didn't even say what's the I was going with the third. I just hate the design of the third evolution so much. But,
I just wish they'd chill a little bit with the bipedal starters. The last few, like if it's actually bipedal, then like Charizard, that's great. But I mean, didn't love Inteleon. Yeah, I loved Rillaboom, but didn't love Inteleon. Didn't love Quackleval, but it's too bad because I like all the stage ones. I think Quaxley, Sprigatito, and Fuecoco are all very cute, look great. But yeah, I don't know for whatever reason. But then Skeletors, I mean, it's a crocodile, so guess what? It's on all fours, so it makes sense. But it looks good.
And like, I thought it was really interesting because like Fuecoco was bipedal, but then it went to all fours, which I feel like they don't do very often. Like usually it's either they go like they get on the two legs a bit.
Servine superior though.
Yes,
you're right.
It literally lost its legs.
It loses them. Yeah, it actually loses them. Yeah,
that tiny little arms behind its back.
Oh, Oshawott does too. Oshawot's on twos.
You're
and
right.
Samurai's
true.
Yeah. So
and I feel like that they do a good job with those ones to make them feel, I don't know, powerful, but like also like I don't know. I feel like it does justice to the design too, where sometimes the going from all fours to bipedal can really lose that magic. I feel like too. Yeah. All right, getting into now our shower thoughts. These are just me kind of the deep lore, deep thoughts of the Pokemon universe that we always have. You're going on throughout your day. You're like, what about this? What about that? So our first question for you in the shower thoughts realm of things is: so you're in college in the Pokemon universe, we're gonna say, right? And you need to write a paper on a specific Pokemon line. Which line are you choosing to research and write a paper on?
Ooh, that is a good one. Why don't I go with the Drampa line? I get some free snacks out of it. Or not Drampa, I'm sorry, the Appleton line. The Appleton line. I get some free snacks out of it, you know what I'm saying?
I like it. I like
research.
If I'm curious on this as well, if you could pick like a legendary or a mythical to do some research on, is there one that has like lore that really interests you? Like, I mean, obviously each legendary kind of has its own thing that it has its reign over. Is there one that really I think is like I think the Gen 7 legendaries are sick, like Solgaleo and Lunala. It's like, man, what are they? I don't know. Any one of those are mythical that stands out to you that you'd be looking to do?
Jirachi. I've always wanted to be friends with Jirachi, and I hate that movie so much because I do not like Max, and I'm like, Max, Jirachi should be my friend, not your friend.
It sucks. Other than that's a good movie, dude, with the ground on and everything. Yeah, and it's a good one. But yeah, I always remember being jealous of Max for that.
Yeah,
Can Rayquaza make a show up in that movie? Do I remember that correctly?
No, it's they decided to go with a tentacle monster version of Groudon. That was the big enemy in that one.
It's like it's not the actual Groudon. That's a good one.
That's cool. And so I think the Appleton line the Applin line is a really good choice as well, because just because you have like the new edition of Hydrapple.
Yeah.
Like that one, it's rare. I mean, I think we have Tyrogue is a 3 split stage evolution. Is there any others? I mean, Eevee's obvious. Eevee's like
the main one.
The black, like the main one too. I think it's like always like to get into that research would be really interesting to see like what is it that causes you to go like obviously we have the items of the games, right? But it's like it'd be really interesting to like kind of get into the nature aspect of that as well and see like what is it like, and because like Applin or what is it Flapple and what is
Appleton.
the big boy Appleton.
Mhm.
Like it's interesting because those are only 2-stage, but then you have the 3-stage
I
with
was
the
gonna mention that,
Hydrapple line.
Yeah.
It's really
So
random.
it's kind
Yeah, it's random.
I think if you wanted a less joke answer, then for like what's so interesting about like how does this Pokemon become this or this? I think the Slowpoke line, because not only do you have this, you got Slowpoke to Slowbro, which is like okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. Slowking is like all right, now it's like wickedly smart or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you get to Galar where it becomes poison, and then Mega Slowbro. It's like all right, what happened here with Mega Slowbro? What's going on? We got to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, the Slowbro. Yeah, that's a good one. The Slowbro lore is, or the Slowpoke lore is pretty. It's pretty nutty. That's good. So I guess kind of along this lines before we go into the next shower thought, because we talked about Eevee as well, and it's it's pretty controversial that we've only had one evolution in the last, what is this, like 5 generations since Gen 4. And so I think Sylveon's dope, but I with Pokemon kind of milking a lot of like the older stuff to kind of keep people more of the casual fans into, I'm surprised they haven't done more evolutions. And even me as more of a diehard, I like why not? So if you could pick like just one type for the next game for Gen 10 or as a DLC for Gen 9, which evolution type would you like to see?
I guess I'd go with a Steel Eevee. I think Steel Eevee would be kind of cool.
That's a good choice.
But I think there's a reason why there haven't been any more evolutions. Is I believe, you can fact check me on this one.
Yeah.
I believe every evolution specializes in one stat, and now they're just out of stats to specialize in now. I think.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so that might be the reason why we haven't seen any EVs since then.
That's interesting.
That would be interesting. Yeah. I know it's too bad because I've seen some really cool fan art. Like people, again, speaking along the lines of the creativity, some people make some really cool fake mons. And well,
now I want to Google a Steel Eevee real quick.
No, so if you do, you could probably look up any type. And I even saw like an Instagram post where people have like Steel Eevee evolution.
I see this one with the really cool gear legs and stuff like that.
Looks like a robot, or there's one where it's like its tail turns into like a blade or a sword. There's one where it's it has like a knight's helmet on or something like that. Guardian, Bladeon, people are. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah, you think if they. I see 2 opportunities here because like they could have done this in like Sword and Shield because
right.
The namesake of the game, and then I see this kind of like futuristic cyber one, which is kind of cool. But we already did the paradoxes, so
you can't really do that now. Yeah,
we got plenty of those designs.
Yes, we do. We got a lot of those. Nice. So, last shower thought we have for you before we kind of wrap up our chat here and then let you go. What single stage Pokemon would you like to see get an evolution? Like your Tropiuses of the world, your Heatmores, your kind of what the Lickitung got one in Gen 4. Who would you like to see get?
Don't remind me. Don't remind me. That's my answer. I would like a redo for Lickitung. Justice for Licky. He needs a retouch. I hate Licky.
It's just bigger. It has a bigger tongue.
It just looks so stupid. Lickitung's like peak design. I literally watched a video this past week that Lickitung's peak design of Pokemon.
I love it.
He is actually like one of my favorite 2-3 Pokemon, honestly.
No way.
Yeah, no, straight up. I have a plushie right next to my Jirachi plushie.
Let's go.
In the other room, so that's my official answer. Is redo Lickitungs.
There we go. I won't argue that. Logan, do you have one?
Would you? I was just gonna ask. Like, do you have like a basic nothing crazy, but like a basic redesign idea that you would do for a better Licky?
Just make them look cool and cute. Like I'm not an artist, so I can't. Like I'm not good at like character design or anything like that.
Yeah,
I think you've had people on the channel that much better fit that bill, right?
Yeah.
So, you know what? Let's commission them to do that, and then
there we go. And
everyone will be happy. Yeah.
I also just got to shout out because you mentioned Lickitung, and I just got to shout out the mini game from the first Pokemon Stadium.
Oh, hell yeah!
It was I love that game so much. And so kind of switching back into let's see that if I were to choose one,
Yeah.
I honestly think given the like some of the Pika clones, I think giving them like evolution would be fun. Like Togedemaru would be really kind of fun. I feel like almost like make it so because it goes from the like it's just the ball. Maybe kind of fun to kind of give it that mace, like that chain and ball,
Ooh.
like evolution or something like that, like make it like spiky. Or I think Plessel and Minun could have some fun evolutions as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like kind of give them like almost like the Raichu. Because like I remember there's like I don't remember what it was called, but there was like a canceled evolution that Pikachu didn't get in Gen 1. I can't remember what it was called. But like, you could almost give that one to like Plusle. I feel like because it was kind of a red look. You could give something like that to the Plusle evolution. I feel like,
or like Dendade, right? Dendade even looks more like
Yeah. No, that's really that's a good idea.
Well, then it's random because then this generation the Pika clone was the Palmy line, and that's a full 3-stage one that they did. Which is funny because they all kind of look the same. I feel like that.
I was going to say that. Justice for them as well, please.
I know, right? I mean, electric fighting type. It's cool. I'm glad it's a 3-stage, but it just feels like the difference between Palmot and what's the second one? I just know Palmy and Palmot.
Palmeo, I don't know.
It's something like that. They basically I use it on my team, and then it evolved, and I was like, oh, like the tufts, like it has like the hair tufts. Maybe the hair got a little longer or something like that. But
it says on the bottom of the screen, Palmeo has evolved, and you ask yourself, did it?
Did it actually? Did it? I'm not sure. So kind of to one of your videos. I would like to see Spiritomb get something like maybe a little more unhinged, maybe a little more like just I don't know, chaotic or something like. I think Spiritomb's really cool. Love its colors. Thought you could get it in a really interesting and unique way back in Gen 4 as well.
It breaks free from the shackles of the tomb.
Well, it's kind of controlled in a little vortex circle thing. Just looking at it, maybe like the thing cracks on the bottom, and it's like a little more like I don't know. I'm sure there's people who do some really cool designs for it. So
I like that idea.
Yeah. So.
Because kind of going back to the earlier conversation we were having with Pokedex entries, I feel like Spiritomb is also one of those weird ones, and like it's just like that could have some like as you're a kid, like there's just certain Pokemon that just have the eerie feeling, and like giving it an evolution, that'd be fun. That would hit the kid in me again and be like, okay, this is awesome, but I'm freaked out and awesome and odd at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's cool that they've never like shied away from the concept of death, going all the way back to, like Lavender Town and all that, and the stuff with the Marowak that you have to go through. So it's cool that they don't hold back their punches sometimes.
Well, even I mean, even this last one where it's like not only is Arvin's Mavastiff like on the verge of death for half the game, which I have 2 dogs and a cat, so I'm like, oh man, that's gonna hit me. And then at the end of the game, the big plot twist that his dad or mom is actually not alive. Like that's not actually. I'm like, whoa, you guys got me. I was not expecting you guys to still have that in your arsenal after all these years, but lo and behold, you got me. That was good. So,
shout outs to them actually writing a plot for this game or story.
It was good.
Story.
Yeah, no, it was good. I agree.
Well, I felt like the DLCs did a pretty good job too. Like in the Katakami, areas and stuff like that. Like you had that almost like with Ogerpon, you had that interesting choice, like where you catch Ogerpon and like the new rival kid is like angry at you in the Blueberry Academy, and then you have the secrets that are around what's going on with him, and so I felt like they did a really good job because I don't know with the DLCs of Sword and Shield, I felt like they kind of did a little bit more story, but it was more like here, find these legends, you're kind of done with the story, but they did a good job, I feel like, building out the story even more from the original game itself. So I thought that was awesome.
I wish I could speak on that, but my biggest Pokemon sin is I've never played any of the DLCs from either of the games.
There you go.
Oops.
Confession time.
Yeah.
Nice.
But people seem to like the stories from those, so that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe I'll get I'll cough up the $25 and play at some point.
At one of these times, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, man. Well, again, we just want to thank you for coming on our show and joining us and just kind of giving us a little bit of your time. We've had a blast. Again, we just love the content that you're giving out with all the games that you do, but then especially the Pokemon side of things. We're huge fans of that, and I'm a huge Zelda nerd, as you can see from behind me.
Yeah.
And so I love seeing and hearing the amazing things that you're doing. Before we wrap up here today, we just wanted to give you a second to, if there's anything else specifically that you want to tease, aside from what you've said earlier. If not, that's all good. But we want to give you a second to kind of let people know where they can find you, and also if you have any words of wisdom that you can give to the people, whether that be Pokemon related, whether that be life related, just send us off with some words of wisdom.
Sure thing. Yeah. So again, BigRig Creates. You can find me on YouTube. I got a lot of fun projects coming up. Pokedoku ribbons, not my channel,
Nice.
and then Zelda stuff too. If you're into Zelda, so we got all that coming. And if I was to give a piece of advice to people, Pokemon or otherwise related. Play Pokemon Infinite Fusion. It's the greatest love letter to Pokemon of all time.
Oh my gosh.
To Pokemon fans.
We got to get around to that. So right now,
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the side outside of the interviews. We're doing Link Nuzlocke essentially, just for different ROM hacks. We're doing one called Elite Redux right now, which is Pokemon Emerald, but like basically every Pokemon stats are changed to be like everything's good essentially, but everything gets 4 abilities at once. So what's an example? Like, and there's like a bunch of like custom abilities as well, but like, an Alolan Golem can have Galvanize, Sturdy, and then like 2 other ones all act. So we're getting like wiped like left and right because it's hard to keep track of like everything at once.
All these
but
abilities.
One that we want to get around to is Infinite Fusion, because I've actually watched a lot of people play it, and it looks like an absolute blast. So,
yeah, you're doing yourself a disservice if you haven't checked it out yet. That's all I have to say.
I agree.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's a cool one. Love it.
All right.
Perfect.
I'm sorry I couldn't give anything sagely at the end there, but
no,
that's what I've been thinking about.
That's good. That's perfect. And we got some good stuff earlier on, so I think we got some inspiring stuff from you. So no worries, man. That's perfect.
Sweet.
Yeah, all encompassing from life to Pokemon. It's great. And for everybody out there, make sure you check out our channel. We'll continue to be doing interviews. We're also, like Josh mentioned, we're doing our Pokemon Elite Redux hardcore soul link right now, and we'll be continuing to bring some fun stuff around the corner. And for now, this is Logan, Josh, and BigRig or Matt signing off. We'll see you guys.
See you, everyone.